You're listening to the BBC World Service, the world's radio station. Now, more than 2.25 billion cups of coffee are drunk every day all over the world. And now scientists think they've come one step closer to ensuring we never run out of coffee beans. They've sequenced its DNA in the hope that they can one day eradicate disease, something that's important for farmers as the global demand for caffeine continues to grow. Dr. Victor Albert from Buffalo University is one of the scientists who worked on the project, and he explains a little bit more.
We have sequenced the genome of what we call Robusta coffee.
Now, what's Robusta coffee?
Robusta coffee is the species Coffea canephora. Robusta coffee accounts for about 30% of all international coffee trade. 70% is Arabica coffee, which is the most aromatic and flavorful coffee. Robusta coffee is mostly used for instant coffee.
And where's it usually grown?
It's grown throughout the tropics and subtropics.
So you're sequencing the genome. What exactly does that mean? What do you find out? Why do it?
Okay, so for any agriculturally important plant, these days we need to have a genome sequence to embark on any sort of advanced breeding or genetic engineering approach. So a genome sequence is when we sequence all of the DNA in the organism. So all of the genes and all of the DNA that lies in between the genes.
Presumably this is more than just finding your perfect cappuccino or latte. It's about helping farmers.
Well, one aspect that we've studied is genes that have to do with disease resistance. So it turns out that genes that have to do with disease resistance have expanded in number in the coffee genome in ways that haven't occurred in other plant genomes that we've studied. And of course, coffee is susceptible to disease throughout its grown range. So greater knowledge of genes involved in disease resistance and the possibility to do advanced breeding or genetic engineering techniques are afforded by having this genome sequence.
How far, as far as you know, is coffee affected by climate change? Because, of course, some of the countries that it's grown in struggle very hard with the effects of climate change.
Well, of course it is. Coffee is not an arid lands crop, and with increasing aridification worldwide, I think we can expect less and less regions suitable for coffee growing. So climate change certainly plays a large role. On the other hand, with global warming, there will be more and more warm spots to grow coffee, but with the aridification, drought will be a major problem. So that's something we haven't studied in detail, but there are genes involved in drought resistance that are undoubtedly there in the coffee genome that other people could study.
So we could see genetically modified coffee?
I think it's quite possible. For example, one of the major stories in our paper is that we were able to look at the genes in coffee that control caffeine biosynthesis. And there's an interesting story there, but one of the possibilities is that coffee could be genetically engineered to basically knock down the function of these genes involved in caffeine biosynthesis and therefore possibly make a caffeine-free plant so that one does not have to remove the caffeine from the beans, which probably also removes a lot of the flavor.
Okay, so you have decaffeinated coffee grown from the bean originally?
Yes, that would be possible. I don't know if it's highly desirable, but certainly possible.
Well, that was Dr. Victor Albert from Buffalo University and one of the scientists who sequenced the DNA of the coffee bean.